Hello, this is Todd Shank from Premier FPL. Today I'm going to be doing the Gameweek 22 FPL tips. So starting out, I have the Gameweek 22 through 25 FPL fixtures with my ranking up on the website at premierfpl.com. So you can take a look here. You see kind of general idea of which teams to kind of target for the upcoming weeks. Not a whole lot to really say here. I'd say the only interesting one is the Cardiff City facing Huddersfield and Newcastle, so they could be an interesting one to target. A lot of cheaper options with Cardiff City, a lot of better differentials with them as well, make some room for bringing in the heavy hitters. So yeah, that's just something to consider. Looking forward, at least for these next few matches here. Then they do have Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth are just leaking goals. The flip side of that is they have been scoring goals, so defensively Cardiff City might not be the best team to look at, but midfield, forwards could be a great place to find some value. Yeah, outside of that, I would say there's not a whole lot surprising in here. Arsenal have some tougher fixtures coming up, so they're one of the top sides here that could make things interesting. Not so sure that you really want to drop anybody, especially I don't know that you really want to drop Aubameyang. Although I'd also say I think Aubameyang is the only one who should really target. So yeah, that's just kind of a quick look. Again, you can find that. I'll put a post or a link for that in the down below in the description. So you can always head over there just to take a look at that, or just look at it during the video here, and that might be just about enough. Again, really appreciate the subscribers. That really helps the channel grow, especially early on, more than anything else. So if you can subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that. For Game Week 22 tips, I'm going to be focusing on 5 budget midfielders to look at in the upcoming game weeks. This is something that will help you to create space in your team for some of the bigger players, but also look into some of the players who will still get you points. Guys that will start, or guys that are actually playing well and will get you decent points, especially for the upcoming fixtures. Then I think I'm going to wrap up, maybe do a brief review of my own team, some of my thoughts, and then just kind of a brief review of some of the upcoming injuries to look out for. All right, so jumping in, top 5 budget midfielders looking at here. All right, starting out here with Ken Sema for Watford. The main reason I'm looking at him, he is a major differential, 0.2% selection. 4.6 price tag is the other thing to look at with him. As you can see, didn't play much to start the season, but last couple of weeks he is getting more games. Did get a goal and assist. So he's scoring a few more points in recent matches. The biggest issue with him is whether or not he's going to get playing time. At 4.6 price tag for a midfielder, though, that's I mean you get what you pay for with someone like that, and it would definitely free up some space to bring somebody else in. Making room for having 3-4 big name players. You could that would leave space for you to have someone like Kane, Aguero up front, along with Salah, Hazard, Pogba, Sterling, Sane. Like a lot of a good mix of 4 of those different players in your team. So yeah, just something to think about with Sema there. The second one is also for Watford, Gerard Deulofeu. He's been in FPL for past 3-4 seasons as a good pick. The only issue is his inconsistency. He's getting more playing time recently, so he's scoring more consistent points. I think out of all of them, he probably has the best form. His form is currently 6.2 based on their ratings. Still a good differential at 2.3%. At 5.5 is on the higher end here, so definitely something to consider that he is a little bit higher priced. 53 points is definitely better than the 28 for Sema, but again, 5.5, you get what you pay for a little bit with him. Let's see, 3 goals, 3 assists, picked up 3 clean sheets so far this season. So we jump back here. Watford does have Crystal Palace and Burnley. Good chance for getting some points from Deulofeu in those matches as well. All right, next up is Nathan Redmond. He is going to be very consistent. It looks like only about 4 matches that he didn't play the full 90. Scores fairly consistent points. The only issue is, a lot of his consistency is in the 2 and 3 point range. Now, the primary reason that I'm targeting him, 5.2 price tag. He scored more points than Deulofeu, so he is very consistent, decent form, great differential at only 1%. And since the change in manager, that's where he has really stepped up his game. Since the change in manager, he scored 2 goals and 2 assists, his only goals and assists for the season. But it's also where he was finally able to break out of that 2-3 point form and moved up into the 5 points, 13-7. So coming back here, Southampton is a team that does have good fixtures coming up too, so that's a great reason to target him. He's one that I am considering. The only issue is who I would move out, so I'm not really sure that I really want to move anybody out for him. But somebody, if you are looking to free up some space in midfield, he's definitely a good one to look at. The next one is David Brooks, and he's the other one to think about targeting if you're trying to make room. I kind of went back and forth on which of these two would be better options. His price tag is slightly less. He's selected by more teams. So, honestly, if I'm thinking about it now, it might be better to target Redmond over Brooks just because Redmond has a better differential. He hasn't scored as many points for the season, but he is in better form. Knowing that they just changed their managers, something to consider that he could be a better player going forward and could be that differential to help you out in any of your mini leagues. David Brooks, 5 goals, 2 assists, 5 clean sheets for the season. Plays fairly consistently, doesn't always play the full 90, but generally gets at least 60, so you're not going to be losing too many points. Only a couple times where he didn't play 60 minutes. The number one player to target is Victor Camarasa. The main reason is at 4.6 and 65 points, he has great value, decent form as well, fairly great differential at only 2.8%. And the other great thing is, so far only once this season that he has started and not played the full 60, and that was against Tottenham. They were losing anyway. He wasn't really going to get you any extra points. So hopefully you're not playing him against a team like that. But even against United, got a goal, 3 goals, 2 assists. Not great, but for 4.6, that's a great value if you're getting anything out of him. Generally gets 2 points, so generally playing the full 90, getting you that 2 points. So he's a player to have on your bench, and if somebody ends up not playing, last minute injury, or you just don't want to move out too many guys, having somebody in there like that that's going to come in off your bench and at least give you some points is something to watch out for. And the other thing is Cardiff City has these decent fixtures coming up here. This might be a good time to move him in there. So honestly, if I was moving anybody into midfield, it would be a choice between him or Nathan Redmond. Redmond, I think, would be more of a long-term possible starter, whereas Camarasa is one of those guys who might come in once in a while off my bench just for like a week if he has really good fixtures. Something like here against Huddersfield might be a good time to have him in there. All right, so that kind of wraps it up. Again, to review, we have Ken Sema, 4.6% for Watford, Deulofeu at 5.5 price tag for Watford. Nathan Redmond and David Brooks, 5.1 for Brooks, 5.2 for Redmond. I think I would go with Redmond over Brooks in there. And then the last one, Victor Camarasa. Okay, so my team, just to kind of review that real quick here, has not been doing well in recent weeks. I think I went over that before, that basically ever since I dropped Salah, my team has plummeted. I almost feel like he is kind of like my talisman for the team, and that I really do need to get him back in. So looking at it outside, I mean, I like my midfield. The issue is I'm going to have to drop somebody, and that's most likely going to be Hazard. The alternative would be to look at maybe drop Pogba and Kane and do that swap. That would mean I could bring in, I think that would be enough to bring in Redmond, either Redmond or Camarasa. Yeah, probably Redmond now I'm thinking about it. So the swaps are looking like either Pogba and Kane for Salah, and I guess either way I'm going to have to look at a budget a budget forward here. So it'd be, bringing in Salah and then bring in somebody, here I have it sorted, bring in somebody like, who was I thinking, Troy Deeney was one that I was looking at. Was thinking about Danny Ings, talked about him in the past. The only issue is it looks like he is out with a hamstring injury, I believe. So looks like he is out until the 19th. So if I did bring him in, he would basically be sitting on my bench until he is fit again. So yeah, kind of a toss-up there. Most likely will be looking to bring Salah in. It's just going to be a matter of whether I'm dropping Kane or Hazard to bring him in. I do have the 2 free transfers, so that's looking good for being able to bring them in this game week. The other one that I was considering of bringing back in was Aguero. Tough thing with Aguero is I do have Kane, so it's kind of a toss-up of Aguero or Kane. There's a 1.3 million price difference between them. I do like Kane. It's amazing how he's kind of flown under the radar for me. Already scored 14 goals this season and doesn't really even seem like he's making too many headlines. And I guess a lot of it just has to do with, he's only got the 2 braces. He's not going out there scoring, a hat trick in a match, which is more of what Aguero does, hat trick, then we'll go several games without scoring any. This whole big chunk in here was about the time where I dropped him. So not getting any points in there. So that's the biggest issue with City players is their rotation, and having to rely on a guy who costs that much and might not play is just really hard for me to swallow. So I would rather have Kane, and so it's looking like I will drop Hazard and then probably Callum Wilson, and bringing in maybe a Troy Deeney, maybe the Rondon. Kamara was the other one that I was... Actually, Kamara, I think, was the one that I was really looking at targeting, because if I bring in Kamara, basically leave him on my bench, frees up some more space in midfield if I want to move there in the future. All right, just some quick injury notes here. Big one is Arnautovic, whether or not he's going to be back, along with Javier Hernandez. I think those are kind of the 2 big ones. So Danny Ings, Højbjerg, I know a lot of people out there have them as well. Pogba looks like will probably play, but again, kind of questionable. Sanchez looks like he's out still. Aguero currently being assessed, may or may not make it. I don't think there's really anybody from Liverpool. Lovren, if you have him, looks like he's going to be out, and Van Dijk should be playing. I think the other big one, moving up here, Mkhitaryan's still out if you have him. Bellerin looks like he should be able to play. So the Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, both of them look like they will likely play. It's just a matter of maybe they won't play full matches. Callum Wilson, I wouldn't be surprised to see him sit the bench and have Joshua King, who looks like he should be fit playing up front. So that's one of the reasons that I'm thinking about dropping Wilson for this week. Okay, I think that about wraps it up here for the Game Week 22 tips. Yeah, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about mine. Let me know if you have a better budget midfielder out there. Yeah, so I think that's where we'll leave it. Again, subscriptions to the channel really help to grow things, and really appreciate those of you who have subscribed. Definitely appreciate that. Anyway, I think that wraps it up. So as always, wish you good luck and have fun.